first of all, what drove you to finance or made finance be like, oh, I think I want to do accounting. I think I want to do these things. And then later on you switching over, and then just talk more about the idea of like, you don't have to, I guess, nothing is a finished product at the very beginning. Because I know there's this pressure on all of us to be like, what I start with has to be the best decision that I'm making right now. But that usually never ends up being the case.
Exactly. Yes. So when it comes to, so I'll answer this in steps. So I chose really business. That's what I chose. After taking some classes in high school, I took one class like business management or something, and I loved it so much. And I was part of FBLA, Future Business Leaders of America. I would like love going to state and all this, and I ended up getting the business departmental award in my high school and whatnot. And so I loved business so much, and so initially I was like, oh, let me just do business management because it's business and I like all of the stuff. Like, okay, cool. But then right before I was set to declare that major, there was this esteemed professor, part of the college I went to, that was like, that is the stupidest thing you could possibly do. He was like, why? He was like, why would you get a management degree? Like, what company is going to hire a 22, 23-year-old to manage their team when instead you can get a different degree, get skilled in that thing, and then 5 years, 6 years down the line, be a manager, an overseer, anything you want. And so that's when I switched courses, and I was like, okay, well, I like math, I like personal finance. And so let me switch to finance and accounting. And I'm really still grateful that I took those courses. That actually is not something I regret at all. I don't ever think back like, oh, I wish I did computer science or I wish X, Y, and Z. I am very grateful for the tools it gave me for my personal life. And so to me, it just makes me like a stronger individual, those two together.
Yeah. I mean, that's dope. I mean, it's so interesting. Like I always look back, and it's always like little conversations here or there that ends up pushing us in one direction or another direction. It's always the stuff that we would think like, it's not that big of a deal, but it ends up being a big deal.
Yes. And I think that's why it's so important for people, young, old, like it doesn't matter, to have mentors, because it's nice to have this person who has the hindsight of 2020 to talk to you and say things to you that they wish they would have said to themselves. Because here I am talking about things I wish I had understood and whatnot. But now hopefully I can say to someone like, oh, you keep declining jobs, maybe you should switch careers, like things like that.
And that's such a good point as well. It's I like to say that we can't see the forest from the trees a lot of the time. So it takes somebody else who's looking on the outside to tell us exactly what's going on and be like, I notice a pattern. Maybe we need to do a little something different here.
Like there's that quote that's like, the closer you look, the less you see. And so that's the thing. Like you have this person who's 20 years removed from you, who can provide that kind of insight. So no, I highly suggest mentors and things like that.
That's definitely a good point.
I hope you enjoyed that little snippet of the Rambling Mind podcast. If you want more of the Rambling Mind podcast, or if you want to listen to the whole episode that you just heard, go check it out on any podcast listening platform, whether that be Anchor, Spotify, Google Podcast, Apple Podcast, Breaker, Stitcher. I could go on, but you guys already know which podcast you love to use to listen to. So go check it out. Link down in the description as well. I'm going to catch y'all later. Peace.